Welcome back to The Edition with Opening Doors with Annette. Great show in front of us. Once again, I get to introduce not only a personal friend, which is the most important role that you and your wife have in my life, but also a partner in my business and your business, and also a very similar passion for coming from philanthropy. So, Gene Richards, welcome to the podcast.
This is very exciting. Spending time with you is always entertaining.
Oh boy, that's a great conversation. We're not going to ask that question today, though, Jude.
Okay.
We're going to focus on you.
All right, fair enough. Happy to talk.
So once again, first off, thank you so much, not only for how your friendship with me, but also how you've helped my real estate clients over the years. We've been in the year, both of us in our industry for many, many years, and we don't need to count the numbers.
No, we don't.
On one of my podcasts, I said at one point in my career, I started counting backwards because I didn't need all those years of experience. I only needed 20 years of experience to get the same effect.
There you go.
So I think you probably share that same philosophy as we continue to age gracefully.
Yes. Let's do it.
So thank you for that.
Okay.
And thank you for being a community leader. You and I met. We were actually, I think you were the president of Greater Farmington Chamber.
Yes.
And I was on your executive board.
Right.
And you had no idea what that meant.
I for sure did not know what I was doing. Right.
Actually, you did a really great job, no question. And instantly there was this friendship and kindredship that I realized that we were kind of from the same cloth, that we had this philanthropic heart in realizing. So once again, thank you so much for everything you do at CARES, the Campus of Hope, and the motivation of how you've taken your community and motivated them to see the mission and vision of CARES.
It's always a privilege.
Oh.
It's always exciting to help people.
Yeah, it is. So. Yeah, it really is. So tell us a little bit about your attorney career, your business, because I always take people back. So let's go back.
Very good.
When was the time in your life that you realized that attorney in the law profession was going to be what you wanted to be when you grew up?
All right. So this may be a little shocking. I remember it was a night I realized I was not going to be a minister like my father, and I needed a real job because my wife wanted to stay home and raise our kids.
That's wonderful.
So I was like, uh-oh, what do you do when you have basically a seminary type degree? You can't do much but do preacher or minister stuff.
Right.
And so I was in big trouble.
So you went to law school. How old were you?
So I started law school, I was probably, I graduated when I was 29, so I'd have been 26. So Patty and I met in college in Nashville. Again, it was a 4-year degree in theology and mission work. My parents were missionaries, not just a minister. Missionaries in Africa.
Wow.
I thought I was going to follow that same track. And then I came to realize I didn't have that same calling that I think a minister should have, that dedication for life, life in ministry. So then I was a little bit in the wind, and Patty was a full-time teacher, and I took a year off. We had a baby, right? So my son had been born. And so I actually stopped working and watched my son during the day and then worked nights. At some point, I knew another guy that had grown up in Africa with me. He was a little older than me, but he was an attorney in South Carolina. And I thought, well, shoot, maybe I could do that. I really had no clue. And so I decided to pursue a law degree. We were in Nashville. We didn't have any family support. My parents were overseas. So, and if this is too much, just stop me anytime.
Gene, this is exactly what I want.
So it was actually my mother-in-law. They'd come down to visit. And she almost, as simple as this, just said, well, why don't you guys move to Michigan? I'll watch the baby. Patty can teach. You can go to law school. Ding,
Great
ding,
idea.
Ding. The bulb went off.
Strategy.
And I mean, literally that summer we moved to Michigan and got a little bitty house in Westland. It was our first home, a little 2-bedroom house. And I mean, I can give you a lesson in how not to go to law school how not to become an attorney. It was just really I was just lost. And some funny things initially was, so we moved to Detroit, right? So this is early 90s. And I've never been to Detroit before. And so first day to go down and register for law school. And of course, there's no maps, right? There's no Google Maps or anything. So
I didn't even know you had MapQuest then.
All right. So I get in my little Toyota and I bebop down 94, and I think I got off on Grand Avenue, and I'm driving, right? And I'm like, well, I don't see Wayne State, because I was looking for Wayne State University. So I pull off in some little, I don't know, maybe a liquor store or something. There's some guys there,
Right.
and they're looking at me like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, hey,
I'm looking for law
looking for Wayne
school.
State.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, you are lost. Dude, go over here. And so I found my way. So just getting to the law school was an experience. And then, just the whole journey was I had no reference point to be a lawyer. No one in my family was an attorney. I knew no one who was an attorney. I really went in blind. And so I've got a lot of funny stories about, and some what I call God moments, where just things happened along the way that it made for an exciting journey.
That's awesome. And I think too, that tells people that, the message that sharing your story, it tells people that even later in life, because I think that there's this whole concept of you graduate from high school, you go to college, and you get a job, right? And it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes your journey takes you a different way, and it's the right journey for you, right? Because now look at everything, what your life is like. You just kind of embrace it and just be along for the ride.
And I like that. I think of it as my Robert Frost moment. Two paths diverged in the wood.
Very familiar with Robert.
I took the one less traveled by, and that made all the difference. I mean,
wasn't paved yet. There was bumps, and if there was no shocks on my car, my head hit the ceiling, came back down again. That's how rough it was.
Yeah, it really was difficult.
Yeah.
But my wife hung in there with me, and again, I went to law school with a baby. I did it full time, so I was going full time during the day, and then working at nights and weekends in Birmingham at a hotel. So it was just a ride. And when I came out of law school, I really still had no connections, and I thought I would get into international trade, because I thought, I'll work internationally. I speak French because I grew up.
Yeah, you lived in Africa.
Right,
Yeah, you
West
grew up
Africa.
Yeah,
French-speaking country. So I thought, I'll do that. That didn't work out, and I got trapped in a situation I didn't know how to get out. And then I happened to meet an alumnus from my boarding school in Africa who connected with me. Said, "What do you do?" And I said, I'm an attorney." She goes, "Oh, I work for an estate planning attorney. I want you to meet him. He likes to meet younger attorneys." And that just completely,
that was the pivot.
That was the pivot that took me into estate planning and ultimately elder law. And I've discovered that this type of work really fits me, my personality. It's about helping people. So I always say, on most business cards of an attorney, it'll say attorneys and counselors at law. And that little element of counselor is a lot of what I do, because you're dealing with people dealing with big issues and traumatic and sometimes desperation.
And they know nothing about it.
Don't know what to do.
Yeah, they know what the end result, they think they know what that is, but how do they get there?
Yeah, or they think there is no solution, right? So when I deal with people, it could be, a parent with dementia, and the kids are like, "We don't know what to do. How do we handle this? How do we get control or to help?"
How do we support them, provide a quality of life that they deserve? Because it's our mom or our dad, right?
How do we do that?
And they can't exhaust their own personal resources, but they don't have access, right, to that. And that's one of the things that, you've really propelled me to become certified in probate as a real estate broker.
I did not know this.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I think I heard you say it, but I didn't know what that meant.
It's, being...
Which is why you tell me what to do when we're working together.
This isn't about
Gene,
me,
this is how it works. Oh, okay, Annette, sure.
Tell the judge this.
It's pretty funny.
Well, the scary thing is I think that may have happened, but that's okay.
It's okay.
But I think that that's one of the most powerful things I've learned from you is that meeting the client exactly where they're at, educating them the same way that I have grown my real estate business, and giving them the ability to not have the choices made for them, but to be part of the choices, part of the strategy that gets them to the success that they're looking for. And it's hard to say with probate and health issues and all of that to say success, but at the end of the day, it really is the goal that everybody's trying to help the family get to.
It should be.
It should be, and it doesn't always happen in this industry based on the characters in the play.
Right. I think people want to feel heard, sort of what you just said. Whether they're accurate or they have a misunderstanding doesn't matter. They need to verbalize their thoughts and what they think they need. And then you as the professional, you fine tune that, right? You kind of nudge them off a train of thought and say, well, how about this? Why don't we approach it this way? And I'm sure you do the same in real estate.
We do.
Don't buy that house. You don't say it, but you're like, well, let me just tell you a few things you need. Right?
Do you see that, Ferna?
So you just kind of nudge them in the right, at least that's my approach, is to listen to people, listen to their heart, and everybody has a story.
They do.
And maybe that's why you got into this, I don't know. I mean, I got into it because I needed a job, right? A career where I could hopefully support my family. But you learn that everybody has a different story. And if you can tune into that story, you yourself learn a lot about life, sometimes things not to do, but a lot of times, I can adopt that or share that.
Well, that's a great concept, or that's a different way of thinking, right? So I think that educational piece is almost, yes, a gift to our clients, but it's also a gift to us, right? Because we're able to rise to the elevated conversation that they need to have because we're learning more about them. So tell us, obviously, a little bit about how your practice is today.
Okay. Well, I think of my practice primarily as assisting people in the last quarter of life, or as a client recently told me when I said that, are you kidding? I'm at the 2-minute warning.
I was just going to say, I'm in first quarter.
There you go.
And I'm one of your clients, so just remember that.
Yes. So the nature of my practice is I divide it into three parts. One is planning ahead. So that's what you think of as estate planning. So there's planning ahead, getting things in place, the personal legal documents, estate planning is called. Everybody immediately says, I don't have an estate. Well, okay, fine. You do, but let's not worry about it. We'll call it personal legal documents. Those are critical. Hopefully you have those when you need them. If sometimes we're doing crisis work, which is something's happened, it could be like the one yesterday, the elderly lady had a stroke. She's now in a facility, is not able to return home, and she and her son are calling me in a panic, going, what do we do? Mom, we can't afford this. Mom can't afford this. She doesn't have that much money. We've heard about Medicaid, and so I'm able to walk them through that stuff. So that's the crisis part where we're reacting to something maybe, and of course it helps if they've got things in place, but if they don't, we deal with it. And then, and that slice sometimes includes the elder law. And then the other part of this is helping families work through the aftermath of death. So we handle the probate side. If there are trusts, we're in the trust administration, or just guiding families, spouses, surviving spouses through what do we do now. So I think those are the three main components. What's called elder law is sort of that niche area in between those where you're dealing with people typically on how do we pay for long-term care that's very expensive. And so a lot of times that's helping people qualify for Medicaid assistance. And there's many ways to do that. But I think that would define the nature or the scope of my practice.
Well, and it's interesting because I have, of course, great stories, right? Because, we do business together. But I also have clients that come to me not having any elder experience or understand what's going on. And the most recent one was probably I think one of the most learning based for me, which is you're like, which case is she going to talk about?
Right.
Well, I don't give too much information,
Can't do
just
that.
enough for is that the brother was not in contact with the sister for many, many years. She was never married. She never have any children. And he has become the heir to her estate, and not realizing really what she had accomplished, being the doctor and just incredible strides of what she's done in her life, acquired a lot of real estate, but had what we consider, as he said, a bad relationship with the first attorney that didn't really realize all the assets that were there, and some were lost. To prior tax foreclosure. So, and then you step in, and I call you, and of course you always get the famous call, Gene. It's Annette.
I love those, because then it's like, all right, hang on, what's coming?
I got a situation, right? And I start to unfold half of the story because I never get the whole story. So you're never really truly prepared what door you're walking into.
Right.
And I commend you, because you never know that. My clients never know that. They think you're totally on board and know exactly every piece of it, because that's who you are. But you literally took that really bad situation that, came to me from a referral, and was able to guide him from another state who doesn't know anybody, trusted the two of us and our teams, to get him to what we consider the finish line, which is to have closure. All the way to, and I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but because he wasn't close with his sister, I was trying to find a piece in the house that really represented what I knew of her personality, which was she was very creative, very energetic, like people. She was a magnet for people.
Okay.
She was like an entertainer personality. And so she had this beautiful bowl, right? And the nights, and I could just tell it was something important to her. Okay. And of course the contents, because he didn't want to deal with it, were sold with the house. So I grabbed that bowl, right? And I knew he was coming in to see me because we had some leftover business with you and with me. And when I gave it to him, I said, hey, I just want to let you know, Gene and I wanted to make sure that you had a piece of your sister's life. And this is what represented what I've learned to be, and had the pleasure to learn without meeting her, really what she stood for. He started to cry.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And he said to me, I'll never forget this, I owe you and Gene so much, because in that time of my life where I had to literally jump into my sister's life that we were not close, and to be able to still honor her, and you too fell right into place honoring who she represented. And I was like, Gene and I nailed it again.
Yes, very
Because that's
rewarding.
really who you are. Like, that's how you show up for your clients. And I commend you for that.
Well, I think we have the same spirit there, right? We have that same desire to see people succeed, or at least to get resolution in a healthy way, in a calm way. I think we're both a little bit high energy when we want to be.
You're more higher than me.
Wow, come on. And but we take that passion for what we do and that energy, and I think it comes across, and we're able to drive solutions that. And one thing I've learned about you is, which I try to reflect, is a creative look at things. Like it's.
Is that what you're calling that now? Right. That's awesome.
How
does Annette make the law fit to her?
Right. I'm telling you, it's like, I didn't know we could look at it from that angle, but very good. We'll run with it.
So let me see. Can I convince a judge of that, Annette, is really the question. Well, let me talk to him. Her, she, him. I could talk to him. That doesn't know how that works, Annette.
But no, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, I don't think I'd heard all of that from you yet. So
that's a great story of a client that you and I worked on.
And there's their story. Speaking of the client's story, that's very unique to him. It's not like the next one that comes in has a different story. And so one of the joys of what I do, or the thing I take great joy in, is being to walk at least a smidge of their life with them. Or I met a guy this week. I guess I can't say too much either. But so we're in the meeting, and I'm thinking, this guy's a little odd, right? And he's quirky. And in the course of the meeting, it comes out that he says, "Did you see the Ford versus Ferrari movie?"
That was a good
I
movie.
was like, "Yeah, one of my favorites." And
Yeah.
he says, "Well, I was." I'm like, "No way." He goes, "Yeah, I was." He was in that team, right? So he's a personnel. I'm
Really?
like, "No way." So after he leaves, I go and look up his name. Sure enough, there he is. But you wouldn't know this from this poor.
People put
This
their
guy
pants
who's
on.
aged to the
Yeah.
point, his health is deteriorated, and he's in a wheelchair, right? And so you go back in time.
He has a story.
But he has a
It is an
story.
incredible
And it's a
story.
rich and beautiful story, and we got to share in that just a little bit.
That's a gift. I love that.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we align with CARES.
Yes.
So, of course, I love to ask the question, when did you realize that CARES was filling in that piece of your life that you were missing?
Well, probably
Or
thanks.
adding to?
Probably thanks to you. You have a way of recruiting. You have a recruitment skills.
That's another new one. You called it many other things than that.
Well, we're being recorded.
Yeah.
No, but because I being in Farmington Hills and being in
Sure.
sort of on the fringes of city, like the chamber and different things. You knew about CARES or heard about CARES, but it just never resonated. Like, just didn't really know what it was and how meaningful it was to people, how important it was to people.
Necessity.
And so again, it's like I've just slowly gotten sucked in to CARES.
Here comes the actual
Right?
reason.
Yeah, no. But it was a gradual exposure to, and I feel like I'm still learning about CARES. Like, it has so many rich elements and various things that it does. Every
It's
time.
very humbling. I always say that to people. It's so humbling walking on campus and learning about what's going on. And I was part of it and I'm still learning and still being impacted by people and how those people are being impacted by CARES. It's a community.
So I would say, thanks to you, I've become more immersed in the CARES mission, and I just those in the leadership, Todd Lippa, you, and those on the board, really just this is like a mission, right? We are on mission. We have a purpose. We're here to serve people, make sure people are respected and provided for when they might be, vulnerable or resource shy or whatever. And I just, again, sort of that. I think I hear my father's voice somewhere in the background, right? It's like that. He was a minister, so he was about people and helping them and ministering to them. And CARES does that, right? They minister to people. And so again, to be, maybe it's one of those pivot points in life where you have a friend that says, "Hey, come along and join me in this." And you think, initially, and then you're like, "Oh, this is actually a beautiful thing."
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
And I don't take no more than 5 times. So I think you kind of were at like 3 or 4. And then I was like, "Hey, meet me for coffee." And this is the location you're going to meet at coffee with.
I think you're right.
And now you've gone on. You're part of the legacy committee at CARES. Obviously, your church community has really kind of come on board. And of course, your beautiful wife, Patty. And of course, quite an honor to be the real estate agent of choice by your kids.
Yes.
And moving
very
your
recently.
grandbaby back locally.
You know what? Thanks to you, I was cutting and setting tile the other night in the house for my kids, and in the back of my head, I'm going, "Dad, gummit, Annette, couldn't you get them a better house?"
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I get it.
No. It was perfect for them, and again,
a good entry point for them financially,
beautiful
and they're going to
house.
build sweat equity in our community. And
and
they have a dad that is going to keep them young and a grandbaby that he's doing it for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So here on the podcast, we have a tradition. So the tradition is that if you met a younger version of yourself, what is the piece of advice that you would give him?
That's just not fair. Okay. I think for me, I was too stubborn to take advice. And so I'll go back to my initial statements about going to law school. I could have probably gotten some counsel or wisdom, but I was intent on figuring out for myself. And so I didn't ask for help. And so maybe ask for help would be my counsel to my younger self, because I was always stubborn. I was going to do it my way. I was going to figure it out. And I didn't want people to know I needed help, right? So there was a little bit of a pride there. So one thing that Patty and I tell our kids now is, please ask for help. You don't have to figure this out. When you have that baby, when you get that, if you don't know what you're doing with your job, ask us. We have made enough mistakes.
Learn from them.
In our years. We can tell you what not to do. But have a mentor, ask for help, and listen. Like, there was an elderly gentleman that, and I guess I'm rambling now, but I remember years ago, he wanted to teach me about financial stewardship management. I was a college kid. I was just like,
I need to know where my pizza's coming from.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm just like, leave me alone. I mean, he was so, I feel bad now because I was like, I could have really benefited had I been willing.
Do you sponge-like?
To receive the information and listen and ask for help. So that would be my counsel to my
continue
younger
to be learning-based throughout your life. But,
self. Oh, yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to. That's great advice for your younger self. Well, but your older self has been doing great things without that advice, but it's always good to hear from others, right?
Yes.
So, Gene, once again, thank you so much for being here. If you would like and have questions further past this podcast, you'll be able to, on the bottom of the screen, reach out to Gene personally. You're obviously always welcome to call you, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, welcome.
Which I love that for any of my listeners. People do that, and I'm so thankful for you being open for that as well. And of course, follow us so that way you can get access to all the podcasts that we do, because we have incredible, incredible people on all the podcasts. Until the next version, thanks for tuning in.